Okay. Shall we start? Sure. We are doing examples related to freeways and multi and highways. In the previous week, we did the example of operational analysis for a multi and highway and a freeway, and the design analysis for a freeway. Okay, and now we are moving on to this example, which is related to growth rate. So we have a 6-lane urban freeway. Free flow speed is given; it is measured. Okay, and we have rolling terrain, 10% trucks, standard mix, meaning more single unit trucks, less trailer trucks. And there are other standard conditions, so we don't need any CF and SAF. What is CF and SAF? So no adjustment factor is required. Peak hour factor is given. Current traffic volume is given in one direction. Current, right now what we have. And this volume is expected to grow 6% every year for the next 20 years. Okay, so next year it will be 6% more, then 6% more, 6% more. It will continue till the next 20 years. They want to find out the level of service on their facility, current, then 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Okay. As I already mentioned that we did one example where we found the level of service for freeways, right? Okay. So you can apply the same procedure in this example and you can find out the level of service. No problem with that. How many times you will do it? 5 times, because we need 5 levels of service, right? Okay. So that can be done and there is no problem with that process. Clear? This is one way of doing it. Okay. Another way which we haven't used in this topic is to use the service flow rates. We haven't used service flow rates in this topic yet. Okay, so let us do something related to that. Okay. So what is the service flow rate? Yeah, the maximum flow rate for any level of service. Okay, so how can I find out the level of service? Using service flow rate. So for example, if level of service A has a flow rate of 1000, okay, level of service A has a flow rate of 1000, okay. Looking at the current volume, can we have level of service A? No, right? We cannot have, okay. Let's say B has a limit of 2500. B has a service flow rate of 2500. Can you have B?
No.
No. Let's say C has a limit of 3800.
Yes.
So we can have C, right? We have C. Okay. So this is how we can do it. Now, there are 2 things to be considered. First of all, current I already have. But what will I do for future? So I can find out the flow rate, the service flow rate, and I can compare with the current value. There is no problem with that. Okay. But what will I compare with after 5 years? Which value I will compare it with 5 years, after 5 years?
The value of that one.
Yes. So where is that value? How do I get this value? How? What is given for future? 6% growth rate, right? So 6% every year. So how many after 5 years? What is this? To the power, right? Okay. So this is the equation for future volume. You get the current volume 1 plus I. What is I? The growth rate. I is what? The growth rate. Okay. And to the power n. N means the number of years after which you need the value. Okay. Clear? So if you need the value after 5 years, n will become 5. 10 years, n will become 10. Okay? And why we're taking the power? Because every year the number is changing, right? Every year the number is changing. Okay, so that's why we have to take the power. It's called the compounding rate. Okay. So you said for 5 years how much? 48? 4818. Then 10. Six, 4, 4, 7. Okay, 15. 8, 6. 2, 3. 2, 8. Yes. 1, 1, 5, 4, 6. Clear? Okay, these are the future volumes and the current is already given. If you want to apply the method which we have already done, then these are the volumes. Every year just change the volume and the rest of the things are same. Clear? Okay, but now we are going towards the calculation of service flow rates, right? Okay. In this figure, where is the service flow rate? Yeah, x-axis is the flow rate, but where is the service flow rate? The curve and the line, right? We plotted this curve and make the lines for C and D, and we got the service flow rate, right? We were only required to do it for C and D. On this example, we need all of them so you can compare. Okay. Now, what was the first point in this example? Free flow speed, right? Okay. In this case, it was 73. Okay. In this example, it was 73 point something. In this case, how much? 65. 65 is better than 73. Why? Why 65 is better than 73? Well, it's my age, right? Yes, anybody? Why I'm saying 65 is better than 73? Yes? We have the curve. Okay? So, these are the few curves which they have plotted, and they made the lines, they found the intersection points, and they gave us the service flow rates. Clear? Okay. So I don't need to make the curve myself. Maybe it was 62, then you have to make, right? And you know it can happen, right? Someday it can happen. The day you choose, it can happen, right? What this? Okay. So what did I say? How will I find out the level of service? Now I have service flow rates. I have that. These values. So what do I do? Yeah. So I take these values and do what? How do I find out the level of service for my freeway? Why? These are for per lane. Okay. That was total and this is per lane. Okay, fine. Good. What else? We have vehicles per hour in the question. And these are passenger cars per hour. Okay, so this is another conversion you have to do. So you have to convert for number of lanes and you have to convert for the passenger cars or the heavy vehicles. Okay. One more thing. There's one more thing. What else? What do we have on the x-axis? Flow rate. And the question they are giving us what? Volume. Okay. So you may not notice it because this is per hour and that is also per hour. Okay. But flow rate and volume can be per hour, but they are different. Okay. So we have another factor to convert volume to flow rate. Which factor? Peak hour factor. Okay. Peak hour factor. So now I can do two things. This is the equation I'm going to use. Okay? Clear? What do I have in the question? Volume, right? So I can put each volume in this equation. It will become what? Flow rate in passenger cars per hour per lane. Then I can compare with the values from the table. Okay? This is one thing I can do. Or I can do the reverse. Meaning what? You start going backwards, right? Convert what? Convert the service flow rate. Okay? Convert the values from the table to volume, and then you can compare. Okay? So either you can convert the volume to flow rate and compare with service flow rate, or you can convert service flow rate to volume, and then you can compare with the volume. Okay, both are correct, no problem with any of them. Okay, but for comparison both of them should be in the same terms, in the same units. Okay, so looking at this equation, what is missing? Like the data, what data is missing? The factor, the heavy vehicle factor. Okay, heavy vehicle factor has this equation. Okay, the value for PHV is 10%. 10% trucks is given. PHV is 10%, and we had rolling terrain. It's given. Okay, so rolling terrain, then EHV is 3. So FHV is okay. So I said I will convert the flow rates into volume. I'll convert these flow rates into volume. Okay, so I'll take each value. Okay, let me make a table over here. Level of service and volume. So I have A, B, C, D, E. Okay, the first one is 710. I multiply with number of lanes. I have 6 lane freeway. So how many? 6? 3. Then I had peak hour factor. Okay, peak hour factor given 0.92. Then I have which factor? Heavy vehicle factor 0.83. So this will give you the volume. How much? Huh? 1626. Okay, now it is in vehicles per hour. After you do all this, it will become vehicles per hour. Okay, next one. Same thing with 1170. Next. 3734. 4650. Five three eight three. Okay, any problem? Clear? It's clear. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I will take it over there so I can compare. Okay, these are the volumes. Okay, the current one is here. So what is the current level of service? Okay, air 0. What is it? Because we are here, right? Okay, so you already crossed B and you are in this range now. Okay, so your level of service is C. Okay, what about air 5? So this is my volume. So C cross, D cross, I'm here. And then air 10. Also what? E. But my volume is 8,000. E has a limit of 5,000. F. See, people don't think about F. And what about after this, after 10, 15 and 20? What? F. F doesn't go. Okay? So first step, I found the future volumes. Second step, I found the service flow rates, but they were already there. If they are not there, then I have to plot the curve and make the lines. Once you have them, then you convert one of them in the units of other so you can compare. Here we converted the flow rate into volume so you can compare. Got it? Okay. Now, so we went from C to F, right? When did we reach F? After how many years? 10 years? 10 years? F means which value? F means which value? What is the critical value for F? Which one? 5383, right? So when you reach this value, now you are almost F, right? Clear? Clear? Okay. So now I want to know when did I reach this value? I want to find out the time, the number of years. Any equation I have for number of years? Do I have any equation for number of years?
This one.
This one, okay? Even I don't need the slides. This one, okay? So I am trying to find out what? And which value? Okay, present value, same. How many? And 849 without calculator? Okay, that's fine. So in the seventh year it will reach level of service F. Okay, so if you want to mitigate this, you have to do something before this. You want to increase number of lanes, make a new highway, have a new service, whatever. Clear? Okay. Now all these things which I have mentioned are called demand management. Demand increasing, you provide more service. Okay, more lanes, more highways. This is called demand management. Oh, sorry. This is called supply management. Sorry, supply management. You demand is increasing. Okay, so I try to meet it. Buy more service or more space and so on. Okay, this is called supply management. Okay, but there are other sets of strategies which are known as demand management. Instead of increasing the road space, decrease the demand. Okay? Huh? Okay, I was about to say this. Yes. We should. Yes. But these people, they are low thinking people. They cannot reach our level. So they have given some other strategies. Okay? We will write our own book, inshallah. Okay? We'll give our own strategies. 1,000 ways to kill people. There are only 4 or 5. Okay. You can reduce the growth rate of traffic by better zoning. Zoning means planning of the area. Okay, so you are allowing high-rise buildings in the area, don't allow them. Okay, if you are allowing multi-story plazas or commercial buildings, office buildings, you can remove them or not allow them. Okay, this is called zoning. So plan the area or change the planning of the area so people will be less attracted to the area. Got it? Public transportation. Okay, provide them better public transportation. Okay, and then still you need a gun to force the people to come into the bus. Okay, so but better public transportation. So we can remove the cars and have people on the shift towards the buses. Alternate facilities. This is very common in Bahrain actually. Okay. We have more congestion on this road. We cannot increase the space here. Let us build a new bridge here, so they will go start up here to here. It's very common. Okay. So alternate means build other highways which will go towards the same area. So people will be shifted. Work hours adjusted, again something which is happening in Bahrain. Okay, it's happened here as well. I don't know after we shifted it's still happening or not. But last year they said, okay, 8 o'clock we will not have the classes. Okay, but we came and we ruined everything. That we have our classes 8 o'clock. How dare you stop us? So we'll have, okay. But we have staggered, not working hours, education hours. Isa town, schools are at different hours. Okay, even if it is a single school, different levels have different hours. So this is what they mean here. So everybody is not coming at the same time. Okay, so these are some of the strategies to reduce the growth rate of traffic, manage the demand. Clear? Okay, any questions? Okay, so we have 3 types of uninterrupted flow facilities, right? What? Freeway, multi-lane, rural 2-lane. Which one we finished? Which one we were discussing? Yeah. Freeway and multi-lane, right? Okay, so we are left with now rural 2-lane highways. In the new manual, they are not considering it. Okay, they are talking about urban roads and some other things. So I took it from the old edition. Okay, old edition of the book and the manual obviously. And these are already uploaded. Okay, but we are still in the same topic: level of service and capacity for uninterrupted flow facilities. Okay, 2-lane highways, meaning 1 lane in each direction. When you have this case, then if you have any problem in your lane, then you have to go on the other lane. Okay, your lane is blocked, it is going slow, you want to overtake, you want to pass, you have to go to the other lane. Okay, and this is one very simple example of what happens on 2-lane highways. that one lane affects the other because they are directly beside each other. Okay, they are directly beside each other. Okay? So one lane does affect the other no matter what. Okay, even if you are not doing any passing, even if you are not going to the other lane. But it's human nature that whatever is happening beside you will affect you. Okay, even if I just put a barrier. So you are driving without the barrier and with the barrier will be different. Okay, it's human nature. Okay, so that's why now we are coming with driverless cars, automated cars. Okay, because we know now we are useless. So, okay, so we are going in that direction. Where do we use two-lane highways? Where do we use uninterrupted two-lane highways? Two-lane highways, two-lane roads are very common. We have inside the campus as well. Okay, you may have in your residential areas. Two-lane highways. Two-lane roads are very common. But where can we have uninterrupted two-lane? Okay, so these are some of the examples. Boundaries of urban areas. Because within the urban area, then it's very congested. You cannot make it uninterrupted. Agricultural region. So agriculture, what happens on agricultural lands? You have a big land for agriculture. No population. So maybe you have acres of land where only one family is living because they are the ones who are farming there. Okay. So big area, small number of people. Okay. Resource development areas, mining areas where we are doing mining, and in this case oil wells. Okay. So again, same thing. People who work there, they are the only ones you will find there. They are living there in their quarters or. Okay, there is not much population there. General population doesn't go there. Okay, and remote outposts like in the border areas. Okay, like the real borders, not the causeway. It's like everybody is having party there. Okay, so what is common in all these areas? Demand is low. Population and demand is very low. Okay, so there two-lane highways uninterrupted can work. Okay, so like I already mentioned, we are following the 2000 manual in this case. So two-lane highways have three classes. Okay, two-lane highways have three classes. Class 1 is designed for high speed. Class 1 is the one which has the highest speed among all the three classes. Okay, and this highway can serve as an arterial between two cities. Okay, as a main highway between two cities, connecting one city to another. Okay, it's difficult to give an example from Bahrain, but let's say from Dammam Riyadh, if you make it two-lane, then you call it what? Class 1. It's not two-lane. Okay, don't tell anybody. It's very wide. But let's say if it was two-lane and it was connecting Dammam Riyadh, then it will be a class 1 highway. You will be going at very high speed. So high speed means you are targeting mobility. Your aim is to provide fast movement. Okay, mobility means movement, ability to move. Okay, so the main aim of class 1 highway is fast movement, fast and efficient movement. If you want to provide high mobility or high speed, then you have to take care of few things with the design. The design should be according to high speed. Okay, so what are the things we should do in the design? Gentle geometric design. Okay, geometric design means what? Vertical or horizontal alignment, like what? Ramps, okay. No ramps here. Turns, or what do we design for the turns? Super elevation, yes. And what else? Anything else related to geometric design? When did you study geometric design? Slight distance, yes. But my question was, when did you study geometric design? Which course? Surveying? Okay. She saved herself. Highway. You took highway so long ago that you don't even remember, right? It was, yes, it was in surveying as well, yes. But it was in highway as well. Okay? But you can see no benefit, right? Nobody remembers. Surveying or highway. Yes, so what did you study in geometric design?
Radius.
Radius.
Civil aviation.
So elevation,
Side distance.
side distance. Yes, surveying girl. What is included in geometric design? Tell me. Huh? I can't remember. Very good. Okay, after the class, go to Dr. Ndal, huh? So, next time he will give more Fs. Okay. But all these things are included, okay? All these things which you mentioned and you didn't mention, only Allah knows, they are part of the geometric design. But the main thing is, the geometric design should allow for high speed. High speed means the radius should be bigger, the width should be more higher, okay? The gradients should be as close to level as possible, okay? So this is what they mean here, gentle geometries. So you can maintain high speed. Other things, additional items which you need for high speed, which you will see on main highways in Bahrain as well, then you have shoulders. Okay, almost all the main highways you will find shoulders. Okay, and we have, even after the shoulders, you will find some empty space. They are calling here it as recovery areas. What are recovery areas? We will discuss them later on as well. But just imagine that you have shoulder and then you don't have the buildings directly. You have some empty space. That is the recovery area. You have markings. You will always see markings. Okay, you will not see these highways without markings. You will see signs, regular signs, speed limit and turning and whatever. Okay, so these are all requirements. The last 2 points are the requirements of maintaining the high speed. So wherever you want to give high speed, you have to maintain these things. Okay, so you will see them on freeways as well. Then we have class 2. Class 2 is relatively low speed than class 1. Class 1 has the highest, then this one is lower than that. What the main aim of this highway is to provide access. This highway is providing access to places which are outside the city. Okay, so you have a place which is outside the city, and this place can be a recreational area, okay, somewhere where you go for picnic or entertainment and so on and so forth, suicide and okay. So these top types of areas, beaches, parks, farmlands and so on and so forth. Okay. So in many cases, the terrain for these areas is very rough. Okay, so even if you try to maintain high speed, you cannot. Okay, the terrain itself is also limiting ourselves to give more speed. Okay, but we don't want to give more speed as well. Our aim is somehow people can go from the city to this place. Okay, even here within Bahrain, you will see if you are going towards a beach. Okay, like the beach which is not the walkways, like the beach. Get my point? Okay. So if you are going towards it, as you come close to the beach, you will find the highway is getting smaller. Okay. Mainly there are 2-lane roads. If you go towards those beaches which are outside the population, you will only find 2-lane roads. Okay. And even those 2-lane roads are narrow, so you cannot go at high speed. Okay, sometimes they are not well maintained as well, because their main aim is people go to this area. Okay, and they will go there whatever happens. Okay, so we don't care. Got it? So low speed is also so there are less passing opportunities as well on these highways. Passing meaning you are overtaking someone, right? You are coming in front of someone. So there are less opportunities to overtake on these highways. Why? Not because of our design. It's mainly because of the terrain. Okay, when you have rough terrain, then it is very difficult to provide these opportunities. They can be dangerous. Okay, and since we have low speed and rough terrain, then we ignore the items which are required otherwise. For example, shoulders, you may not find any shoulders, you may not see markings and signs and so on. Okay, so because of the terrain and because of the aim, which is to provide access, we maintain low speeds on these roads. And when you maintain low speeds, then some of the geometric items or the road items can be left out. Then we have class 3 highways, which are used mainly in one region of US, which is Florida. And class 3 means these are the main highways for small towns. So they are within the town, they are inside the towns, they are not outside, they are inside the towns. Okay, by town I don't mean a city, a small town like a village or something, but they are the main highways of that town, of that area. Okay, but they are inside it. And since they are inside, that means they are in the populated area. Okay, so speed should be what? Low. Okay, within the populated areas, the speed is generally lower. Okay, and then the space is also limited. The space in the populated areas also limited. So you have to maintain low speed. You have to make the roads narrower. You may not have enough sight distance because of the buildings and so on. Okay, so all these things can happen. If you have a recreational place within the town, class 3 highway can be used for access to that place as well. Okay, so we have class 1, which goes from one city to the other, class 2, which goes from city to other places, and then we have class 3, which is within the small towns. Got it? Okay, some design standards. So you mentioned highway, you must have gone through these types of highways, okay, in the highway course. Okay, what do we call this classification? Which classification? Function classification. Okay, but these are only the rural types of that classification. Functional classification and rural, urban both. These are only rural. So arterial is definitely class 1. Collector can be class 1 or 2. And local roads can be 2 or they can be 3 as well. So this table gives you the standards for maximum speed, design speed for these highways. So you can pick the type of highway, look at the volume you have, and you can, according to terrain, you can pick the type of, the design speed. And these are figures which you can use to find out the maximum gradient. Okay, so one for each type of highway. So you pick the speed from the previous table. For example, you picked 45. So 45 is here. And then you have, let's say, rolling terrain. So from 45 you go to rolling terrain, it will give you the maximum gradient for the road. Clear? Okay. Okay. Capacity under ideal conditions for these highways, total capacity is 3,200. And for capacity of one direction is 1,700. Okay. So why the other direction is not 1,700? One direction affects the other. Okay. One direction affects the other. So you cannot have, when this one goes to 1,700, the other one cannot go. Okay. What are the ideal conditions under which you will have this capacity? Lane width 12 feet or more. Lateral clearance 6 feet or more. We have these conditions for the freeways and muddy and highways as well. Level terrain, obviously, the best thing you can have is smooth road or smooth terrain. No heavy vehicles. Even in the previous example, we converted the passenger car. We converted the heavy vehicles to passenger cars, right? Okay. So this is the ideal case. 100% passing side distance available. It means what? If you want to make a passing at any point, so it doesn't mean that you can do it whenever you want and wherever you want. Okay, it means whenever you are looking to pass, you have enough sight distance to see and decide. This is what it means. Okay, so for example, when we say we have stopping sight distance, so stopping sight distance doesn't mean you have to stop. It means if I decide to stop, then I can see enough distance clear in front of me. This is what it means. Okay, so it is just showing you how much clear distance you have. Okay, so the ideal condition is on any point on the highway, if the driver is making a decision to pass, he can see enough distance in front of him to make a good decision. Okay, at any point. Okay, sometimes you are trying to pass, but there are trees on this side or on this side, so you cannot see. If I go to the other lane, what will happen? Okay, but if there were no trees, you may not still do the passing because there is now a car, but now you can see the car. This is what they mean. Okay, so ideal condition is clear distance enough for parking, 50-50 split of traffic, actual traffic. This is capacity. Actual traffic is divided 50-50. So whatever we have on one side is the same on the other side. Actual traffic. And obviously no interruptions. We are doing uninterrupted, right? So having no interruptions is ideal. Okay. But if we have interruptions, how much distance do we allow to call it uninterrupted? More than 2 miles. Yes. Okay. To find out the level of service for these highways, you may use one of these three things. Average travel speed. That is the average speed of the highway. Measure the speed and find out the average travel speed. Got it? Okay. Second thing is percent time spent following. What do you mean by time spent following or following the other drivers? When you are driving, there is a gap between you and the other driver, right? When this gap is too small, then your decisions are according to the driver in front of you. If he brakes, you have to brake. If he slows down, you have to slow down. If he accelerates, you can, yes, good. You can. And you should because there are other drivers behind you, right? Okay. So, but this is, when you have this situation, you call it, we are following the other driver. Okay. So how much is this gap when you start to behave like this, like following the other driver? Less than 3 seconds. So when the gap, the time interval between you and the other driver, less than 3 seconds, then you are following, like you have to. Okay. But most of us don't. Like, we are very close to the other driver, but we are still in some other world. Okay, we don't see him like. Okay. This is why you see these accidents. Okay, there's people who are going too close, too fast. This also depends upon how fast you are going. Okay, but obviously, if you are too close, you shouldn't be fast because you don't have any reaction time now. Okay, so most of the serious accidents are because of this. People are going too fast and too close to each other. Okay, so we should avoid it. Okay, it's very common. Most of the times you see vehicles are hitting so hard that they actually flip or turn. Okay, so this doesn't happen in a normal accident. You have a car, right? So if you saw someone and you were trying to brake yourself and you reduce the speed, this will not happen. Okay, but the type of accidents we are having, the people are too fast. So even when they think about stopping, they are already into the other car. Okay, so don't do this. Then we have percentage free flow speed. We know about free flow speed, right? Okay, percentage free flow speed means it's a ratio of average travel speed and free flow speed. PFFS is a ratio of average travel speed and free flow speed. Okay, write it in the slides. I did not write it. Something like this comes to the exam, I will not give you the formula. You should know. Okay, because percentage free flow speed, so free flow speed percentage of something, this is the ATS. Okay. This table shows you what do you need for each type of item to find out the level of service, the service measure. If you have class 3 highway, you want to find out the level of service, you have to calculate percent free flow speed. We have class 2 highway. To find out the level of service, calculate percentage times net follow. We have class 1, they have to calculate both of them. Clear? Any questions? So tomorrow inshallah we will do some numerical.